All right, everybody, welcome to the Countrywide Coordinator Training tonight with Anne Maria Riezinger. Tonight is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. My name is Michelle Ford. I'm one of the coordinators for the California Assembly, and Rita is going to be opening us up in a prayer tonight. Go ahead, Rita.
Heavenly Father, I come to you this evening, Lord God. I ask you to touch each and every one that's on this Zoom meeting, Father God. I ask you in the name of Jesus, put the hedge of protection around us, Father God. Open our eyes to see and our ears to hear, Father God, and our heart to listen, and with the words, Lord God. Direct our path, Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord God. And I pray over this meeting tonight. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. So be it.
I didn't want to go too far
John.
because I'll get carried away sometime. So,
Okay, thank you. John, go ahead with Vivens, please.
This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, or posting inflammatory language in the public forum is, including the chat, is forbidden and shall be addressed in the appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflicts, false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, or county present? Do you have now or have you ever received money and personal support of any kind from the intelligent community? Is there a response for the ballot decision for the first time? Is there a response for the second time? Is there a response for the third time? Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or the municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the premises in this conference call. If they subsequently show up as a federal witness, they are discredited for failure to disclose. I yield and I thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Are you still with us, Michelle?
Yep, I'm here. I'm at my desk, no longer
Okay.
with a mobile bookcase. Big shout out to you, Lisa. Thank you so much for being readily available as I got off work a little bit later than 5 o'clock tonight. So, no, I don't see that Anna is on the call just yet, and there are a number of hands that are already up. But I like to offer the opportunity to not make an assumption. Are there any hands up that are not exclusively for Anna? Are there any questions from anyone with their hand up that would like to ask their question now?
This is Doug on San Diego.
Great. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I've also got a question for Anna, but I noticed right next to the URL, at the top of my screen, there's a bunch of buttons, and one of them gives you the option of blocking canvas data extraction for this website. So it's like the first square, it looks like a picture of a mountain and a real tiny square. Click on that and you can opt out of getting your canvas data extracted from the website. I yield.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. Now, I don't see that on my screen. That might be something that's for participants of a call, but that's important for those of you that are concerned about privacy or data protection, So thank you, Doug, for bringing that forward.
Yeah, I'm running Firefox. But it's, there's a bunch of icons there. There's
That may be specific to Firefox, though, Doug, because Firefox has some additional built-in privacy issues.
Yeah, okay. All right, I yield.
Thanks, Doug.
Now, just in case your hand goes down, sometimes Zoom does that, like when you have your hand up and then you unmic.
It's still up.
All right, keep an eye on it. We know you're first, just in case. Okay.
Hey, Michelle, right. Brad on Virginia. I got a quick question. Maybe
Sure.
Lisa can answer you. A few weeks back, Anna had said that they were looking for a liaison for the PKTF, And I didn't get the email address of who we need to send that to because we do have our liaison for Virginia. So does anybody have that?
Yes, I can actually drop that into the chat. It's Joe Hayes,
Thank you.
the PKTF director, and I'll just go ahead and put that into the chat. There might be other people on the call tonight who have the same question. And
Thank you.
you're so welcome. All right, it's in the chat for you.
What was it? What was his name again?
Joe Hayes, but it's his
Joe.
last name is spelled Hayse.
Okay. And I yield. Thank you.
Awesome. That was a great question. Thank you very much. Hope it helps. And
If I
congrats
may, Michelle.
liaison there. Very good. All right.
If I may, Michelle.
Go ahead, John.
I don't know if you happen to see the email I sent you yesterday. I sent it to you and Anna. Earlier in the week, I received an email like we normally do if you get deposits made to the GFG account. When I logged onto the GFG account, there was a prompt to accept a term of service.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't
And
do it.
now, I didn't, but I just thought there could be other people being confused by it.
Yes.
So I didn't check on it, but there may be others that need to be advised not to do so.
Right. I've gotten quite a few questions on the same thing. So, if you've read any of Anna's articles recently, it is a British Crown corporation that it has infiltrated that portion. They've even changed the nomenclature on the website to Global Harmony dollars, not American Federation dollars, in deception. They're not disclosing to you that the corporation has changed or that the partners have changed. So if you've not gone in, don't mess with it. Don't send them any questions, anything else. If you have gone in and you have consented to their terms of service, you're going to want to take and do a revocation. So you're going to write them and say, I've made a mistake. I consented to this and I did not have full disclosure of exactly who I was consenting to. And I found out that it is not who I thought it was. So therefore I revoke all consent. And please tell your assemblies that. You send that probably to info@globalfamilygroup.com and get your just send it by email. Make sure they can send it 3 times if they wish. Anna says that they have all of the information. I talked last night with one of the IT people on the tech team. They said that they do have he confirmed that they have all of the information for both the regular GFG accounts, the AFD accounts, and the vault information. So, you really don't have any worries. Your balances and everything are fine.
I was just with all the things going on, I knew enough not to click on it, but I thought it was important to let everybody know that I could enjoy. I didn't have your email address, or I would have sent it to you as well, but I sent it to Michelle and Anna.
Yeah, I got plenty of them.
Okay.
So I had talked with Anna after I saw the email that came out, and that was what Anna had advised and had talked to me about. So
Lisa,
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't click on it. I just exited the website and
Yes.
sent the email out.
Lisa,
Lisa, do
may
you
I?
know if they have the information on the business accounts as well?
I believe they have all of the information.
I think.
Okay.
I thank
Lisa-
you, and I yield.
All
Can
right.
I ask value, Joshua Bryce, Pelletier on DeKalb County, Georgia? Can I add some value to that? There's no full disclosure. A lawful and legal binding contract takes full disclosure, 2 meetings of the minds, 2 wet ink autographs, witnessed and sealed and autographed. It's bullshit. Don't worry about it if you clicked on it. You can send an email if you like. They don't have nobody to even manage those emails anymore. But there's nothing to worry about. They don't even know where they're operating in, much less lawful or legal. So you don't have to get You know what I mean? All your hair is up in a
Yeah.
burrow over that, okay, guys? If you clicked it, you clicked it. It's quite all right. I promise you, they don't have no legal or lawful team. They're all gone too. So I just want to add that value. But if you haven't clicked on it, I would stay away from it. You know what I mean? But if you did, you could send them an email and you could screen share it, CC it, keep it, and put in your records. But it's nothing that you have to really be concerned about, okay? So remember, a legal and lawful or lawful and legal binding contract takes two meetings of the minds, full disclosure, two wedding autographs, witness, sealed and stamped by notary public, public or the notary, recording secretary, or it's a null and void contract, no binding. I yield.
I'm going to add a second witness and testify the same.
Lisa, this is Glenn.
Hi, Glenn. Go ahead.
I was back and forth today with Anna after I got your email, and she said that they should redo the 1779 and make sure the date is today's date and get it on the LRO to show that they, okay, we made a boo-boo, we fixed it up, we're back on the land. So that was the latest, and I got that from her this afternoon. So I yield.
Okay. Thank you for that, Glenn.
Lisa, may I add some more value because this is coming up, and I'm glad that he brought this up. Okay, guys, let me add some value because we have a lot of people who are coming in that don't know what they're doing. They don't understand what public record is. Public record is the court of record. It is the law of the land, all three jurisdictions. When you put something on the public record, just because you feel you don't want it on there no more doesn't mean you could just go remove it. That's a no-no. So we come up with an instance here in Georgia where a woman put her whole family's documents on the record, and then some guru sold her something, and she's running around going crazy, trying to get us to take them off the public record. That you cannot remove somebody's documents from the public record. It takes an act of Congress and a court order, the highest court orders, to remove documents off the public record. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now you can paper over them. But like I expressed to my coordinators and people in my assembly, I'm not here to instruct people on how to handle their own affairs if they don't know what they're doing. All right. So I'm here to correct people's status, not help them paper over their own documents because they didn't do their due diligence. I just wanted to put that out there because, I'm getting a lot of feedback for a lot of people who just don't comprehend and understand how powerful the public record is. You cannot just remove documents off the public record unless you prove there's some injury or harm or can be done to you, like in a witness protection or something like that. That's why it holds so much clout and so much power. That's why we use it. It's why we always put it on the public record. I yield.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. If I may indulge, Josh, I think it really speaks a lot to that you're on this call tonight to offer this kind of assurance. You were a dedicated volunteer for a long time for Global Family, and the fact that you're right here alongside all of us, giving us your feedback is very, very valuable. So I just wanted to, from my heart to yours, say thank you for taking the time. There are many, many nervous, fearful energies going on out there, but you being here and sharing, the right, the assurance, it goes a very long way, in my opinion. So thank you for taking the time.
So may I?
Much love and appreciation and gratitude for sure. The energy is definitely, it's shifting, but I was on here a couple months ago, and it's been rampant, guys. So you just gotta stay in harmony with yourself because that dysfunctional, whatever you want to call it, evil, destructive power is wielding, and it's been out there for months now, and it's really been attacking us. So yes, I was compelled to be here. You know what I mean? As far as just to make a presence, with my involvement with Hunter for over 5 years, 4 years intimately, Well, that's that was resolved in an instance, with the evidence and everything I've been gathering for the last 6 months that we all pretty much know about to an extent. But thank you, Michelle, and everybody else. I yield.
Great. Thank you. Bernie has his hand up as well to add comment. So go ahead, Bernie Parr.
Yes, and it would be parade because there is an accent on the E. And okay, so Josh, I want to thank you. A question that I do have for you is when we recorded our documents onto Global Family, did those get posted to an LRO?
Bernie and Parade, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Everybody, you're safe there too, because technically, Global was not a public office because they didn't have you didn't get to log right in and view your documents on the public record. All you got was a notification, and then if somebody had the space to get you in there. So you're good with that to an extent. Okay, that function never got built out to be a total public record. So you're good with that. But your documents are on the public record anyway, guys. That's what I'm expressing. Public record's public record. You know what I mean? So there is no harm, there's no injury, unless they use that data in unlawful or illegal way and sell it. Then you got a claim. Okay.
Right, because our names are copyrighted, so therefore we do have a claim if that was to be done. But there was a man who was on earlier that said that he talked with Honor, and she was saying that we should redo our 1779, which would mean that we would have to put it on a land recording office again. Mine was put on in 2021, so I feel safe about that. But I was not sure. Neither was you had a recording secretary here on Maine, which he got changed to an admin, Dennis Banks, and Dennis and I are very close, and he never knew the answer to that also.
Okay,
And he
yeah.
also what?
Apologies, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done. My bad. I yield to you. Let me know when you yield.
I just wanted to say that Dennis put an awful lot of time volunteering into doing that, and Dennis is 81 years old. And he spent many hours of the day recording other people's documents, most of them from out of this country, sometimes some people on this country. But I just wanted to also put that plug in for Dennis. So I yield. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bernie. I'm very familiar with Dennis. And yes, I love Dennis for his added value, for sure. So I do apologize. I was a little bit confused with the question. Okay, for everybody that you know of in your assemblies, friends and family, if they only had their documents on the public record of Global Family Group, yes, they need to get their documents on another public record. Okay. If that was you were
Got
asking.
it. Yes, I
You
understand.
don't have to redo your documents, guys. Documents, it's all free will and choice and intent. Okay. So you're the constructor, you're the contractor, and the creator of the documents. They're yours. All right. There's only a couple things that null and void a document. All right. That is not being legible, whiteout, and then copies. All originals have to be put on the public record. Signed, sealed, and stamped, autographed by all parties involved. Okay, so that are the only really four absolutes that will nullify and make a document null and void. Is unlegible, not legible, not original, wet ink, autograph, sealed, and stamps by all parties involved, and whiteout. Whiteout is a no-no. You don't never put whiteout on any legal or lawful, I should be saying lawful first, lawful or legal binding contract. They all have to be original wet ink, seals and stamps, legible.
May I?
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that. Okay. You don't have to redo your documents, guys. If you did, the Universal Declaration was from Anna and the Living Law Firm, not from Global. Okay?
Thank you, Josh.
Yep, I yield.
I yield.
Yeah, this is Doug on
And
San Diego.
go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, so the root word of publish is public. So your record has to be published. It has to be put in the public domain. So that's so if you've already done your documents, you just have to find a place to put it in the public domain. I yield.
And I think this brings up a really good topic too, Josh, in the fact that with Global Family, yes, they're published, they're on the public record, up until it's not there anymore. So what I recommend as well to our assembly that if or and to anyone that if they publish on Global Family, please publish on your state assembly, and the LRO for your state assembly. And what a lot of people are not grasping about private LROs to the state assembly LROs, is the fact that the state assembly holds the authority. A credential card cannot be issued by they can issue you an ID, but they can't really issue you a state credential if it's not on the state LRO. Okay? It's a state authority. And so it's fine. It's your choice if you want to put a private, and if you don't expect to participate on your state assembly or have a state credential card. But a private LRO cannot issue a state credential card unless they have the state's explicit permission and authorization to issue those cards. Okay? So be very aware of that as you're publishing and people are publishing documents. If your goal is to have a state credential card, then get on your state LRO. Get with your state assembly.
This is Rocky. I have a
Okay.
question.
Okay.
I was texting Anna the other day, and she said that the people that checked that box and accepted it, that removed them from the land. And if that's the case, would we have to do the 1779s again? Or is that only for GFG?
Check the box for the GFG.
Yeah. And then you check a box and you say accept.
Right. No, it does take you off the land. So you're going to have to go back and do your 1779 and declare again your 1779. You don't have to redo your witnesses. You already have them.
Right.
So, but just recording on GFG didn't at the time take you off the land. But if they cancel your account, you can't see the record anyhow. It's not really public.
Right.
That point.
That's what Josh is trying to tell you is if you publish on GFG, your record is not visible to the public. It is not public. It is private.
Yeah, but if you did both LROs, like the state LRO and that GFG, would it still remove you from the land, or is it?
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you have it on the public record. Public record's public record,
I just need to know what to tell the people. We got like 6 people or 7 that actually did that. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with them, right?
Right.
With all their paperwork's on the state LRO, so it doesn't matter. I yield.
This is John Russell, may I?
Sure, John. Go ahead.
Here in South Carolina, we have not received any names of anybody from GFG that did their paperwork that are from South Carolina. So all those people have not been notified for South Carolina. So we don't know who they are.
And
so they're not on the public record. They're not on the record.
Right. That's the problem with the private LROs. They don't have to provide your records to you. And the states don't have any idea who those people are, have no way to protect them. And the first time they have a problem or an issue and they raise their hand, we don't know who they are. And some of them get very upset that we ask them to put their paperwork on the state LRO because we have to have a verification of their paperwork. We have to.
May I?
Sure,
I yield.
Cynthia.
Can you
Thank you, John.
this going on in the chat about this private stand up. It also is private. It is not in the public. There is no way for anybody to verify anybody's paperwork on that private LRO. And that is not the state LRO unless your state paid for that. That is not generally all states haven't done that. They're using Anna's LRO, and there's this conversation that seems to go on every single week with these private LROs and paying for that, and that too is private. It is not being referred back to the state assembly. It is just an offshoot of whatever's going on. Am I right on that? I yield.
So any LRO that is not the TASA or the state assembly LROs, some states do have their own. They're private LROs. And so unless they have an agreement, like I said, doesn't matter what you call them, unless they have an agreement with the states, they cannot issue credential cards. They can only issue an ID. They can't put the state seal on it. They can't authenticate it. It's just an ID. That's it.
Lisa, may
Okay?
I? This is Frank.
Hold on, Frank.
Okay.
I had two people at the same time. I couldn't tell who it was.
It's Stephen on Missouri.
Okay, Stephen, go ahead.
It'll be quick. About the GFG. So back when I set up my account, I put my son as the beneficiary of that account, and he's not an ASN, but I was grooming him to do that. So I just put him on as the beneficiary, and they allowed that. So that's the first thing I tried to remove once I got wind of all the issues, was to just go and remove his information off the beneficiary side. And every time I tried to delete a line and save it, it would not let me do it. So I couldn't delete it. So the next phone call I made was to him, and I spent an hour explaining to him. He knew he was the beneficiary of the account, and I had, I was encouraging him to do his 1779s for a long time, but he hasn't done it yet for various reasons. And we know what all those are. But the point is I had to explain to him that if he got contacted by any group claiming that he had money coming to him and any of the rest of it, to just flat out ignore it. And I think he's savvy enough to understand that. So it might be a conversation that anybody that has beneficiaries on that account that aren't ASNs, to, let them know also, to kind of ignore any Mr. Goodbar emails coming at you about money. And another thing I want to mention, I don't look at the chat. I watched the chat a while back, and it started getting weird, so I ignore the chat. I'd rather have my free attention with you people on the screen that are talking and sharing, and the rest. And that other thing, that chat thing on the side, maybe there's a piece of information in there that's useful. For the most part, it's too weird, so I ignore it. So I yield.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, when you're in the chat, you're in a separate meeting. You're not paying attention to the regular meeting. So, and there's sometimes incorrect information, as there is right now. So, Frank, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. So I did finally get on there and take a peek at the GFB. All of my documents are there in place as if nothing has ever taken place. Banking information or deposits were all there. I've never was that comfortable about making any deposits. Now, is it recommended that you go in and delete, retract? What do we do
Nope.
with the documents?
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Okay.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Okay. Because Anna had I can't remember exactly what she said the other night. Okay, will do. I will.
Yeah.
Let us it. Thank you
If
so
you
much.
haven't gone in there and checked boxes or anything, leave it alone.
I haven't checked a thing. So
FYI, guys, you can't delete your documents off. You can only think you can. There's a digital imprint on everything. Your documents are still there, even though you attempt to delete them off.
okay, well, I didn't
Confirm
attempt.
that.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you very much.
Again, guys,
Thank you.
don't worry about that technically, because I'll be straight up with you. It would be a slim chance. And you know what? If that system makes it into next year, due to lack of funding, from what I know, and we're all gaining. You know what I mean? So unless somebody purchases it from him to save his butt, which you could buy a system like that for a fraction of what he would have to recover. And I'm expressing as Hunter Toyofuka a key to recover just alone. So anyway, just to add some value real quick, guys, public record is public record, meaning I can go and I could put your name in the county register's recorder's office or on a $20 background check and pull up everything that you ever done in your public capacity, $30 for, that's a true public record, okay? Now, I'm just saying the name because we're referring to it. Stand up is stand up, but it's not a true public record. If you can't verify that your documents, and I cannot go see them if you come to me in Georgia, that they're on the public record, then technically we don't have to accept them. Now, if they're all witnessed, sealed, and stamped and autographed with a public notary, those, you provide us with copies, then we will accept them. But you really need to put them on a bona fide public record, especially when you're first doing your status correction, when you're sending all your notices and your copies of your documents and all that, and you're telling them, you know what I mean? This is on the public record. Technically, you don't even have to do that when we're on the public record. It's a common courtesy thing that we do with our governmental service providers. And just back to real quick what Lisa, before it vacates me real quick, is that is correct. There is no private LRO system or land recording system or any public record that has the issuing authority to print any state assemblies, logos, or anything that says anything about a state assembly on it, unless you have a bona fide lawful contract to provide those services for your state assembly.
Exactly.
So you guys can get lawful IDs. You get them all over the place. Heck, you can go buy you a system and create your own, you know what I mean, for $2,000, just like Global did for a little bit. But if you ain't got the issuing authority granted to you, don't do it. And please do your due diligence and don't purchase any credential cards like that. You could find yourself in a shindig with that. Easy. I'm trying to use proper words. Anyway, I yield.
I just received a text message from Anna. She'll be here. She's on a critical call. So she said it'll probably be about she'll be coming on in any minute. Hopefully by 9 o'clock Eastern time. So she'll be here shortly.
May I? This is Kimberly on Michigan.
Okay, go ahead, Kimberly.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the conversation. Joshua, the one thing I just felt would be important to follow up on just in your counsel with regard to the contracts. A date is also something that is absolutely needed to make a contract binding. And that was one thing that I did not hear said when you had mentioned that. So I just wanted to follow up on the record. I'm sure most people know that, but since this is a recording, just wanted to give accuracy that a date is always needed on a contract as well. So thank you. I yield.
No, good point. Yeah, good point. Because if you don't have a date, then the international notarial witness should not be applying their seal and stamp and autograph to the document without it being complete. So very good point. Because you don't know the thousands of documents I've had to deny because nobody has no dates. So that's where in the past, the present, the future, it's null and void. Correct. I'm glad you brought that up. Ayo. Has to be 100% completed document. There can be no left out vacant stuff. Wet ink autographs, sealed and stamps, and dates. Thank you for pointing that out. I apologize for not expressing that. I yield. I should have known, especially me. I yield.
Thank you.
Lisa, this is Julie Banchero on Washington. May I say something about the LRO?
Sure.
Yeah, real quick. So a while back, I did make this clarification, but it might be timely again. So the LRO that's offered by TASA is designed for states once they are standing to be able to decouple their particular information for all of their state men and women and their assembly documents and what have you, to be able to then take it to their state, meaning they would have the working functionalities that they need. This was how Anna set it up. And so it's really futile for people to be creating private LROs for all of the reasons that were described earlier. It's really important to understand what the intent is of the LRO provided by the Federation, and then to work to get to that point where you can function when you're standing with the documents that are there. So I just wanted to offer that, and if you have anything to add, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. I yield.
Sure, and that's a great concept, and I know that was what Anna's concept was, but Ohio asked for that. I know of a couple other states that have asked for it, and we get crickets. So we went ahead and made our own. And we'll make that available to anybody that wants it. And we would really appreciate it if we could just have the data merge. That would be the most helpful, is to have a data merge. But we've asked for that too, and that's not been delivered. So, or discussed. So,
Lisa, may I? This is Sin Wallman, Michigan.
sure.
Yeah, this is in regards to the LRO and to the problems that people are experiencing with the people that have papered up on the GFG LRO and the state LRO, those who did not paper up on the state. Anna addressed that question, and I believe it was either in her last podcast. If they have the replay, they can probably find that, or it was last week's coordinator call. I'm not sure which one it was. I always get confused between the two. But she did address that, and she said she was going to bring this up with the Federation to see if they couldn't get those names of people that signed up, because they have all of those records, and send them off to the state. So maybe when Anna's on, somebody can bring that up and ask her that question. So I just wanted to comment on that. The second thing I wanted to comment on was regards to last week, I asked her 2 questions about the GFG regarding should we maintain all our paperwork on there, or not paperwork, I'm sorry, our login information. And I was going to delete it out, like one of the gentlemen that spoke a little bit earlier about this, and then thought better of it. And last week I asked her, is it safe to delete out all of that information and unsubscribe from their emails? And her answer was an emphatic yes, that you don't need to have any of that. They have everything on, and whoever else needed to have that information, they have that information, and that Hunter never did have access to any of that, not the accounts and not the paperwork information, that he had no way to access that. That was never under his control. So I just wanted to clarify or state that too. And people can ask her more tonight when she comes on, just to verify that. And that's it. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa, may I?
Sure, go ahead.
Lisa Rita.
All right, go ahead.
My question is, because I was signed out of the global account, period. They wanted me to do my paperwork all over again. So I haven't did anything. I understand not to even touch it. And I know that's what I've been told. But how can they have my information if it's not on there no more? Is my question.
Well, there's still a digital footprint that's there, a digital record, but it still exists, but they can't use it. It's just not usable. And as far as anyone else seeing it, Rita, they're not going to be able to see it or view it. And basically, if you wanted to authenticate against it, you can't see it. So I would suggest that you get to your state assembly and take your paperwork and ask for it to be put on your state assembly's LRO. Okay.
May I, Lisa? Rita is on Texas, and she's on the Texas LRO, and
Okay,
she's on the American States Assembly's LRO. So
good.
she is just fine.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you.
I was just curious.
Yeah. No worries then, Rita.
Okay.
All right.
I'm out.
All right. Thank you all. That was a very lively discussion. I hope that was helpful,
Doug, I got one more thing.
Lisa, may I?
hold on just a minute. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah. So also another part of a contract is it has to be for a lawful purpose. And the British LRO, the British global family, is not a lawful purpose. So the other thing is, again, people have to remember there has to be a public, in other words, you have to have a URL that anybody can access to get a view of your documents. Then it is published. So, and I've heard a lot of people say they couldn't get, there was no public access for our filings on the GFG. So that was not a public record. So,
right.
It can be in your county courthouse. You could be probably a Secretary of State filing record, any of that. But there has to be a URL that anybody can punch in and see your documents. I yield.
Yeah, exactly. Here on Ohio, I can tell you that if you try to put anything and record it on the deed office, they will not record it. They don't know what to do with it. And most of the information is unviewable to the public. So you'd have to go to microfiche and order and go in the microfiche records to be able to view anything. So yeah, it doesn't work quite that way on Ohio. So
Yeah,
Lisa May.
Okay, wait a minute. I think Josh was next. So Josh.
Well, I apologize for the people I'm skipping because this is really has to be addressed. And I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody that knows me on this call, you could ask Anna what they call me. It's NBS Pelletier. All right. So if you direct negative energy towards me, like a little terrorist in the chat, I will call you out. So either you're a woman enough to step up and raise your hand and ask your questions like a lawful woman that has a little bit of back, then do so. I ain't never run from nobody. I'm not here to hold hands and sing kumbaya. You could ask everybody in my assembly and everybody that knows me around this world.
Hey, we're here to hear Anna.
I express that like it is. So please, you could step up and ask me all the questions you like, but please don't direct any negative energy towards me or anybody in the chat. Okay? That's what I'm here for. I don't hide behind no bush or on no rock. Everybody knows where to find me. Thank you much, and much love, appreciation, and gratitude. I yield.
I know we have other hands that are up, but I wanted to speak to this conversation in regards to publishing and the word public. So we have our own public. We are the public of the land jurisdiction. And sometimes when people come onto our call and they're speaking about public, they think it has to do with publishing in the de facto, meaning that if it's not on the internet, it's not public. And so I would like for everyone to recognize that Americans have access to privacy. So they may not want privacy. They might want to blast their recordings all over the universe so that everybody knows the status that they have chosen. But there is no requirement for anyone to have their documents available to the de facto public. Publishing is a requirement, but you can publish by hanging your documents in your local courthouse. And as long as you maintain proof that those documents have been hanging there for over 60 days, you're good to go. You don't have to. People used to publish in their own family private Bibles, for crying out loud. So don't be mistaken or led to believe that you have to have your documents visible on the internet for God and everybody to see. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that that is clarified because Anna has written many times about our public and then their public. So there is a distinction, and publishing is a requirement, but publishing on the internet is optional because there are many ways that you can publish. You could publish in a local newspaper. You could publish, like I said, in a county building, a public, a local courthouse or a sheriff's office or something like this, a library. But I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that so you don't get bullied or misled or misdirected into putting your stuff all over the internet if you don't want it there.
Let me add a little value though. You got to have a ledger. You got to have a ledger in a public record. Yeah.
Hold on, Josh. May I
Apologies,
tell? Hold on just a minute. May I tell you that Anna has arrived? So, hi, Anna. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to let everybody know she was here.
Apologies. I just want to add the value because Michelle's 100% correct. But on the court boards in the county recorder's office and the county courthouses and the libraries, you got to have a ledger that they're there. You know what I mean? A ledger document and proof that they're on the public record. And the newspaper and down the town square is the oldest public records there is. That is the public record. That she's 100% correct. So everybody really needs to grasp that. There's 5 right there off the top of your head, off what Michelle just spoken. But in those public venues, you got to keep a ledger, just like you do for your land patents. So anyway, I just want to add that value. Thank you, Michelle. I was trying to get to that. We were talking about the public record, but good conversation. Thanks for all the added value. I yield.
Awesome. Thank you again for being here tonight, Josh. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, welcome. We know you had an important thing to attend to before joining tonight's call. How are you doing? Your hair looks awesome.
My ears lifted here. Yeah, about time, but there just isn't there isn't that personal time to do things like get haircuts, you know? It's been very intense here for the last month, and that's one of the things that goes by the wayside is self-care. And I did finally get a haircut. All right. But yeah, I was delayed getting here tonight because we have an important international effort going on to locate exactly where the Global Family Bank Incorporated registered itself. We know that they did it. We just haven't been able to nail down where. If it was in South Africa or France or Switzerland or Costa Rica. The problem here is that there are all these different registration points where a corporation can be registered all over the world. And there is no central database that lets you know when a corporation has set itself up and used your name for the name of their corporation. So you could have an entity calling itself the United States of America Incorporated, and it could be operating out of Costa Rica. It could be operating out of Panama. It could be operating out of the Mariana Islands. It could be operating out of Puerto Rico. It could be operating out of France. And we basically have to track down exactly where the Global Family Bank Incorporated, which was never authorized, where it has been set up. And so the worldwide search is now on. And I just want to let you know that this sort of thing that has, gone on with the bank has gone on with our unincorporated names of our businesses. They have all been mirrored, and this is a known fraud scheme by other entities. And the most recent one that we caught was the United States of America Incorporated, LLC, that was registered in London just a couple of years ago by Donald Trump and other parties that we all know. And so just prior to that, like a year prior to that, there was a United States of America Incorporated that was registered in India. And we keep finding these popping up in different countries. And because there is no worldwide transnational database, you cannot keep up with, all these different incorporated entities that may be operating under your name.
And didn't Elon Musk do one in Texas just a couple years ago also?
Not that I know of, but we'll check that. Thank you. Anyone who picks up on anyone's registration of a corporation pretending to be us, let us know. And, regardless of it's the United States of America Incorporated or the United States of America Incorporated, wherever you find these things being registered, we need to lodge complaints. And same thing with the Global Family Bank. If you go on the Companies House registration site in England, if you go into the French registrar's office, wherever you happen to be, we especially need help with foreign language registrars, Spanish, French, Greek, to check those offices and make sure that we are not being misrepresented as incorporated entities anywhere on earth. And it's a big job. It's a lot of work. And then you have to raise a complaint. And at this point, we're looking for any variations of United States of America, or Global Family Bank. We know that they did it. We are in the process of nailing down exactly where they did it. It might be in South Africa. It might be in England. It might be in Scotland. It might be in France or Switzerland, Costa Rica, Panama, the Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico. These are places that they are known to do this. And so we are on the hunt. But we know that they incorporated. We know that from the way they're operating. And so this is a crime. It's a crime of fraud. It's known as mirroring, because what they do is they take the name of an unincorporated entity like our Global Family Bank, and they mirror it. They create an incorporated British Crown franchise operating under our name. And then they confuse everyone into thinking that their mirrored organization is us. They impersonate us. And this is the same thing that they did with our given names when they seized upon our given names when we were just babies in the cradle. And they created these British Crown franchise corporations named after us. And then they sold us on, so to speak. And the Roman municipal corporations created Roman municipal corporation franchises named after us on behalf of the municipal government. So all of this is just nothing but impersonation, identity theft, and jurisdictional mischief. And where they are switching jurisdictions and then invoking these other identities and these other forms of law, when in fact what we are owed is land law, not sea law of any kind. And they have been doing this under a pretense. And the pretense that is most damaging is that, according to the records, they have a right to conduct mercenary warfare. Now, this has just come to the fore here in that at the time our government was organized, it was still common on Earth that you could have mercenary conflicts and mercenary war for profit. Now, virtually all the countries except for the United Kingdom, the United States, and Russia have agreed to outlaw and delegalize mercenary war for profit. And this is, back in 1860, 1861, slavery was still allowed in many countries. Okay, so there were all sorts of things that were allowed back then that are not allowed now. And virtually every other country on earth has outlawed war for profit. Now, my point to you and to the international authorities responsible is that the United Kingdom, the Great Britain that is being represented, is a company. It is not a sovereign government. And they are voting on whether or not they, a corporation, a commercial corporation, can engage in war for profit. And the same thing with the United States that is being represented. It's again a corporation, a commercial corporation, that's being allowed to vote on whether or not it can engage in war for profit, mercenary operations. And my point to the international authorities is that as commercial corporations, they don't get to vote on whether or not they can engage in mercenary war for profit. They are mercenaries and they don't get to vote on whether or not that is appropriate, legal, lawful, or anything else. They do not have the standing to vote on that. We do. And so forthrightly, what we have in front of us is another roll call vote of all the assemblies on the issue of outlawing and delegalizing commercial war for profit, which is a no-brainer. And the same thing is going on in the British Isles. The British have been deluded and defrauded for 100 years more than we have. When they had this act of union after the so-called English Civil War, a couple of things that were very important happened. And one of them was that the office of the king on the land was destroyed. Okay, so there is no land jurisdiction government under the so-called British monarchy. What you have replacing it instead is something that we all know as Great Britain. Great Britain is not a country, it's a company. Okay, so the British people have been living under the same sort of scenario where you have a company masquerading as the government. And we have a commercial corporation that is masquerading as our government. And we all need to wake up and realize that these are commercial corporations in the business of providing governmental services. They are not the actual government. And this is what I've been trying to teach everyone here, that we have our own government on the land and soil jurisdiction, quite apart from anything that our service providers were engaged in the jurisdiction of the sea or the jurisdiction of the air. Now, over the next few days, this is going to become more and more apparent. And more people are going to weigh in. And more people from all around the world are going to be helping us. And so I just want to reassure you that you are not alone, that you're not imagining things, that we are on the right side of the law and they are not. And if you hear anyone accusing me of being a liar, just remember what I told you from the very beginning. It is their modus operandi to whatever someone else is doing or saying, is to accuse them of what they are doing themselves. So if they accuse me of lying, you can bet that they're lying. If they accuse me of stealing, you can bet that they're stealing. If they accuse me of, obfuscating facts and omitting facts, you can be sure that that's what they're doing. And this is held true for many, many years. This is their way of responding and dealing with things. And they have managed to greatly enrich themselves by doing this kind of lying and this kind of fraud. And if you think on it, you'll realize that Great Britain, quote unquote, could never hope to go toe to toe against America as America is today and win. Okay, so they have taken by deceit what they could never win by force of arms. And now, finally, we're all waking up and realizing what's been done to us in breach of trust under conditions of fraud and non-disclosure by people that are obligated under contract to provide us with certain enumerated government services in good faith. And I want you to, dust off your constitutions if you haven't done so already, and look at all of the times that good faith is mentioned. This was deliberate. This is holding them to a standard of behavior and service. And they are obligated as successors to contract to operate in good faith with respect to the American people. The other thing I want to bring forward into your cognizance and kind of, put a big headlight around it tonight is that we know for certain that what happened during the Civil War was a commercial mercenary conflict that did not involve our states of the Union. We know this, number one, because no Congress ever declared any such war. We know this because no public peace process or peace treaty was ever published ending any such conflict. And number three, we know it from the muster rolls because the people that were fighting in this so-called war, which is actually a mercenary conflict, were fighting under the auspices of commercial entities, business entities known as states of states. Now, if you've never stopped to think about what a state of state is, be aware that a state of state is only even defined in the definition section of the Uniform Commercial Code. So these state of state organizations were commercial corporations. And the soldiers in the Civil War were mustered out under the auspices of state organizations like the state of New York. Okay? So we know for a fact that what has been mischaracterized as the American Civil War was in fact a commercial mercenary conflict. And we know that our states of the Union were not involved in it. We know that the men who were fighting in that war were all mustered out under states of states that are called Confederate states, not under the actual states of the Union. So throughout that entire conflict, which was being fought on our shores under false representations, we were at peace. And that's why I keep telling you, we, the states of the Union, and the nation states supporting the states of the Union on the soil jurisdiction have all been at peace since the War of 1812. And specifically, we have been at peace since 1814 upon the resolution of the War of 1812. So they haven't got a leg to stand on to pretend that we're rebels or that we're doing anything wrong or even questionable. They're the ones that have been operating in dishonor. They're the ones that have been operating under deceit and omission. And they're the ones that are being held to account for all of this now. And I am one of those people that happens to be holding them accountable. So I'm right over the target. You're going to be seeing a whole bunch of smear campaigns People are going to be calling me Anna von Reitz because they think that this, is going to besmirch me, because they're going to try to represent me as a German and as a member of a royal family and blah, 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 blah. But the fact is that I'm eligible to be a daughter of the American Revolution. So anyone who wants to try to mischaracterize me as somebody who's non-American, I'm sorry. I have the provenance and I have the family to show that, yes, no less than 6 members of my family fought in the American Revolution on the American side. And I have nothing more to prove in that regard. But I am also a German in terms of my ethnic heritage, just like many of you are ethnically Irish or ethnically Norwegian. And I say, so to hell what? We're Americans. We are born, we are raised in this country, and whatever we have in terms of inheritances and interests in other countries do not matter, because we have fully adopted, immigrated, naturalized, are here, have been here for many years. I, for example, was born and raised in Wisconsin. I am a Wisconsinite, and nobody can prove any otherwise. So it's all of these things are coming out. Now all of a sudden they're being caught in their fraud, in their disheveling, in their omissions, in their misrepresentations. And they don't like it, because it means that they are going to lose their control over this country. And it is long overdue that they did. Now, these are really kind of tough topics. I'm not expecting everybody to know automatically or sort of instinctively what to do or think about this, but the information is there right on the public record. We just weren't reading the public record and thinking about it because we were lulled into a sense of false security, assuming that these people were our government subcontractors and that all was well. We weren't told any differently. Just like our soldiers and sailors were not told that they were suddenly converted into a mercenary service. Okay, so we were not aware of what had been done during the Civil War until now. Now that we're aware, we become responsible for acting upon that new knowledge, bringing it forward into the international forums and taking action to bring these corporations under land law where they always should have been. Now, within the next few days, we will be voting as assemblies on a question of outlawing and delegalizing mercenary warfare. I want you all to know that we've done a fairly extensive amount of research into this, and we have found that these mercenary commercial corporations have been at the bottom of hundreds of mercenary conflicts all over the world. And those mercenary conflicts have almost universally been mischaracterized as wars. These are mercenary conflicts that happen without any declaration of war and that do not involve a formal public peace process on the land jurisdiction. And in order to bring real peace, you have to have peace between people, not things, not corporations, not persons. So there has been no real peace process in any of these conflicts that have been disguised as wars. And the mercenary conflicts look like wars, feel like wars, smell like wars, but because they do not have the proper jurisdiction and context, they're not declared. Now take a look at what just happened in Iran. There was no declaration by Congress, right? And what does the Constitution say? Congress holds the war-making powers, not Donald Trump. So obviously Donald Trump is acting in some other capacity. And I'm telling you that this is something that we have tracked back all the way to the English Civil War. So it's a pattern. Just like they lie and say that the other guy is doing whatever they're doing, they omit and they misrepresent for profit. These organizations are set up for nothing but profit. If it profits them, then they think that they can get away with it until somebody stops them. And it's up to us and to the actual governments to rear our heads and say no. Now, this has caused gigantic waves in the rest of the world. This has caused a lot of people who are involved in this fake world to become very nervous because they realize that we're about to break their rice bowl. We're about ready to say not only no, but hell no. And we're going to join the rest of the world in saying no to mercenary wars, an end to mercenary conflicts, an end to war for profit. They don't want that. They have garnered great power. They have garnered a lot of unjust enrichment by playing this card against all the other nations. Think of what happened in Libya. American troops, our sons and daughters, were sent into Libya to murder Muammar Gaddafi, take out his government, destroy his people's infrastructure, murder Libyans by the busloads, and steal their national treasury, which contained a lot of bullion gold that has never been accounted for. This was an attack that was inspired by France. France Incorporated, not France the nation, not the people, by an incorporated franchise of the United States and the United Kingdom Incorporated. It was illegal, it was unlawful, and it was immoral. And yet we were sung a siren song, and not for the first time, a false flag. And our war flag, our Title IV war flag, was abused as a false flag by these commercial mercenaries who went in here into Libya and did this. And the people who did it, for the most part, had no idea that they were operating as commercial mercenaries.
Well, war has been a giant moneymaker for them this whole time. I mean, you talked about it a little bit on Monday night. You know, they go in, they destroy, which, you know, there's a bunch of money that goes into building the armaments for them to go in and destroy. And then there's the rebuild effort, you know, the cleanup effort. And then billions are lost. There's no accountability whatsoever in where the money is really going. And it's all a big shell game because the taxes aren't really, you know, people that are, you know, diehard, protect the military, blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole thing is a fraud. The whole thing is complete and total fraud. And so.
Well, and here's what they've been doing since the quote unquote Monroe Doctrine. Use Iran as an example. Israel, Germany, and the UK Incorporated paid Donald Trump's organization to go into Iran and bomb it. And then they come back and they say, oh, well, we were defending America. And they charge off all the expenses of their operation to us.
Yeah, they tell the world it's Americans that are doing that.
Right, and they're taking with both hands. They're getting paid by one group of, commercial interests to go in and do the dirty work, and then they're coming back and charging off all their expenses as if it had something to do with defending us. And it doesn't have anything to do with defending us. This is a gigantic shell game. It's a gigantic impersonation scheme. It's an aggravated identity theft of our entire country. It's a use and misuse and abuse of our Title IV flag, which is only supposed to be used when they are legitimately exercising delegated powers under the enumerated powers. And if you see anything in the enumerated powers that suggests that they are at liberty to go out and attack other countries, it's not there.
No, it's not there. They can't go around acting like schoolyard bullies and, stealing the milk money and pillaging and taking all the natural resources without our permission and without a properly declared war.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what they've been getting away with. And that's what has to stop. And that's why we're taking a roll call vote of all the assemblies concerning the delegalization and the outlawing of commercial mercenary warfare, not only on our soil, and our land, but generally speaking, that they are prohibited from going out and doing these sorts of things for hire by commercial interests or any other government interests. And, this is a big thing, folks. And as soon as we can get organized, we will be taking the vote and we will be verifying the vote. Your coordinators or your assembly chairpersons, if you've elected assembly chairs, will have to verify the vote of their individual assembly. And we are going to put forward another public law so that we join all the other countries on earth that have already outlawed commercial mercenary warfare.
Awesome. And you did write about this in your article, but in terms of the steps. So you're asking every state assembly, so this is for coordinators, okay? You're asking each state assembly to make sure that they get together and hold a proper elect on a letter that's going to be sent. And but we need to do a proper elect on it. And if it passes, of course, we're going to get that sent up to the Federation for publishing on the Federation website. And it should also be posted on your state assembly website as well for full disclosure to God and everybody.
Never. Right. As soon as we have the results, then we will publish internationally.
And should each state send a copy of their letter once, assuming it gets passed on their state, should they send a copy of that up to Marco Rubio and to any other de facto agent?
The important thing is send me a carbon copy here at the Federation. And we have yet to decide, who's going to take over the responsibility of tallying the vote for all 50 states. In the past, the Washington Assembly has undertaken that. I haven't been able to get hold of Terry, to see if they are able and willing to do that again. But in any event, as soon as we have it settled, where we're going to tabulate the data on the votes, you would send your letter telling the rest of us, so to speak, your vote on the issue. And you'll have an exact proposal, a proposed law, a new public law to consider, and it will be uniform so that everybody has a copy of the proposed public law to vote on. And it's a simple up and down vote, yes or no. So hopefully we will have a decision regarding commercial mercenary warfare. And I certainly myself feel that there's absolutely no reason why our country should continue to participate in anything like this. It is very dubious in my mind that they ever had a right to continue this, because both the United Kingdom and the United States Incorporated are incorporated entities. And so far as I can see, they had no standing to vote on the matter to begin with. But in any event, if we come back as, you know, the land and soil jurisdiction government for this country, and we say, no, mercenary warfare is outlawed, illegal, and immoral, that's an end to it. And they no longer have any excuse for pretending that we have anything to do with their operations. The next thing that we need to consider is whether or not the District of Columbia should be allowed to continue in existence, because it has been used as a base of pirate operations that have impacted our country and the entire world. So why should we continue to allow them a use permit that they have used and abused? The use of that land as a separate enclave was for our federal subcontractors to have a base of operations and be able to have a federal capital to conduct business related to the enumerated powers, the enumerated services that they were supposed to provide us. So the federal capital was always an international capital. It was never a national capital. Our national capital remains in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And they have abused that. They were supposed to set up a city that would be run as a international neutral ground to conduct international business. And instead, they've turned it into a den of thieves and a commercial entity that has been self-seeking profit at any cost this entire time, 165 years.
Well, you know, the other cool thing that's going to happen, Anna, when this is done, is that there will be an end to the presumption of ongoing war and all of these wartime authorities that they've given themselves.
Right. And the nature and kind of war will be out in front of everyone so that everyone worldwide can see what they were doing.
Yeah. Wow, Anna. This is exciting. I don't know about all y'all, but I'm really looking forward to our assembly getting to elect on this so we can squash war, unlawful, illegal, mercenary conflicts from now on. Can I get an amen?
Right. Well, you know, something like 200 countries have already made it illegal and unlawful. And, you know, the fact that they were misrepresenting themselves and misrepresenting us in order to promote such a dreadful thing is indeed unsettling at the very best. And I think you all join with me in realizing that war for profit is exceedingly immoral And it is it's a license to pillage, plunder, rob, and steal. And we cannot have that. Our country is not founded on those sorts of principles. Our base religions, none of our major religions are founded on those kinds of principles. And in fact, I'm studying ecclesiastical law, and I'm studying up on going back and brushing up on the law of the ecclesiastical realm, okay? And it's a form of sacrilege.
Oh.
It's literally a form of sacrilege. And so all of this has come to us from the Roman government. All of this is from ancient Rome. And it had, that it has had an influence on the modern world to this extent. It needs to be challenged and overcome. It needs to be recognized for what it is and put down like a rabid dog. Now, about the Global Family Bank, I wish to make it absolutely clear to people. I want to give you the big picture. The big picture since 2009, which is now 17 years, the Federal Reserve System, trademarked, went completely belly up and bankrupt in 2009. And I happened to be reading a little tiny announcement about this in the Wall Street Journal. And I believe that the little blurb I saw was in 2011, and it was about this bankruptcy of the Federal Reserve System. And maybe it wasn't the Wall Street Journal, maybe it was The Economist or one of those other publications. But I remember reading it at that time and going, oh my God, what does this mean? What does this do to the value of the Federal Reserve notes that are out there circulating? And the answer is it rendered them absolutely valueless, which is what we've seen in the federal courts ever since. Now, I've given you the court cases, the citations, where federal court judges have said Federal Reserve notes have no value. The only value they have is symbolic. And even in these cases where people stole suitcases or whatever, large amounts of Federal Reserve notes, they were not charged with theft because the notes themselves have no value. Okay? There's your point one reference. These things literally have no value. They have merely a symbolic value. And that's already been told to you, me, and everyone else by the courts. But somehow the word hasn't gotten out. Okay? And if you go to annavonrights.com and use the search engine, you can look up the court citations that I gave you. So we know for sure that this Federal Reserve note has only symbolic value, and that people who steal them can't even be charged with theft. Point one.
Is it the same for USDs, Anna? And the reason I ask is because almost everything is USDs, right? Almost everything is USDs. When someone has their, quote, paycheck deposit.
Internationally, USD is a different currency than a Federal Reserve note. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So USD is a different currency. This is an FRN.
Right. But
Okay.
I guess what I'm asking is, are the USDs as worthless as the FRNs? I guess is really my question.
No, the USD is not as worthless as the FRN because the USD has had to be brought forward as an international currency.
Okay.
This is a domestic currency.
Right.
So we are using base currency, as in military base currency.
Right.
As in pink or blue monopoly money.
Right.
Okay. So FRNs have no value. That's point one. Point two is that all of these commercial banks have already claimed to own everything deposited in them.
Right.
That means that whatever you have in your accounts, they own. Whatever you have in your bank deposit boxes, they claim to own. So that's why for the last several years, I've been telling everybody, don't keep anything valuable in safety deposit boxes because they're not safe. If the banks go belly up, then their creditors will seize upon whatever is in those banks. So keep as little in those banks as you possibly can. It only makes sense. They claim to own all deposits. Whether it's a check being deposited, whether it's cash being deposited, whether it's your grandmother's emerald necklace in a safety deposit box, they claim to own it all. So that's another big change that's different from what people assume when they go to a bank and put money, or what they think of as money, in a bank. And finally, the other part, the number 3 in our points of reference, is that as of summer of 2023, they started to migrate all local accounts in all your different banks and all your local credit unions. They have taken all those accounts and mirrored them as Federal Reserve accounts, so-called FedNow accounts.
Right.
So what that means is that when you think you're doing business with your local bank or your local credit union, you're not. That account belongs to the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve is what? It is a privately owned consortium of foreign banks, mostly foreign banks, that their main business is licensed commodity rigging.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you've got banks that are licensed to commit crimes that are seizing upon your accounts, and the banks have already claimed to own everything in those accounts. And the money, that the currency, which isn't money, but the currency in those accounts has already been declared to have only symbolic value. 1, 2, 3 people. So you're in a situation where you're using monopoly money and you don't even own the monopoly money. And they are getting ready to seize everything and to, disclaim any responsibility. And they're getting ready to just basically gut anything that they have in those banks. And the Federal Reserve will take it over. And they'll try to, shove it all under the rug and come up with some new system and start all over again with the same kind of song and dance. They'll reissue US notes instead of Federal Reserve notes, but it's still debt notes. It's the same old shtick without having actually repaid you for all the goods and services that you provided in good faith in response to being presented with these IOUs. All right? they're setting themselves up so that they can steal all of this without criminal charges. And this is what we've been aware of and what we've been trying to tell you all this while. Now, when we set up the vault system, you have to understand that the Federal Reserve notes came into a Citibank account. And they were tallied as they went into the Citibank account. Over here in the Global Family Bank, the American chartered Global Family Bank, they were credited as AFDs, 1-for-1. So every Federal Reserve note, which bear in mind is of symbolic value only, all right, is being tallied as actual gold asset-backed money in our American chartered Global Family Bank. This is a currency exchange. If you never understood that before, understand it now. You're taking this and you're exchanging it for an AFD, a different currency, in a different banking system, in a different bank. But the AFD has actual gold value, whereas this has no value. So you're getting out of the hook and crook banking system that is already set up to seize everything you've got. And you're actually gaining back the buying power that you lost as a result of the Federal Reserve system. So our American chartered Global Family Bank credited you already. The exchange was made. Just like you could take French francs and exchange them for German Deutschmarks. What happens when you do that? Well, the Deutschmarks now are over here, and the French francs are over there. Okay, there's an exchange, a currency exchange. You got in before the proverbial you-know-what hit the fan and exchanged these worthless Federal Reserve notes for an asset-backed currency. Your own asset-backed currency, as it turns out. And we got in there and we seized our records, all of your accounts, your AFDs, we got those records. We went in and seized those out of Global Family Bank before Hunter had an opportunity to pull his little switch and bait fraud scheme. So your accounts, we have the record of your accounts, we have the record of your AFD balances from the vault. We have all of that information and nobody can say otherwise. You are safe. Now, what was supposed to happen was that the Federal Reserve notes that had been tallied in the Citibank account were supposed to just stay there. They weren't supposed to be touched. Even though they had been exchanged for AFD and they, strictly speaking, no longer belonged to you, they were supposed to stay in that Citibank account in the event that someone who had traded for AFD suddenly needed Federal Reserve notes. Something, came up. You had medical expenses that you didn't expect. You had some other emergency and you suddenly had to trade in the FRN system. Those FRNs were being kept in that Citibank account so that in that event, we could trade back the AFD for Federal Reserve notes and give you the Federal Reserve notes so that you could trade in the Federal Reserve system. And that is the only reason that those Federal Reserve notes were kept in that separate account. Well, what turns out is that without telling me anything about it, Hunter was pilfering these Federal Reserve notes out of the Citibank account. Or at least that's what he's accused of. And we don't know how much, maybe he pilfered $35,000. Maybe he pilfered $3 million. We do not know that. But we do know that he's accused of pilfering money out of that Citibank account and not paying federal income taxes on it. And we do know that the IRS and DOJ came in and closed out that Citibank account and took everything that was in it. Now, the big question is how much did Hunter pilfer versus how much did the IRS and the DOJ pilfer? And that's a question that only Citibank can answer. But in any event, it had nothing to do with us at that point. We had already credited the AFD in our system, in our American publicly chartered bank. So we have we're clean as a whistle. It was that Citibank account that Hunter had control of that was the problem, or is the problem. And it also means that we no longer have the ability to just give you back Federal Reserve notes. Okay, you're safe and sound, you've got your AFD, you're credited, but we no longer have that slush pile of Federal Reserve notes to be able to exchange AFD for Federal Reserve notes. At least temporarily, while we're working all of this out and while we're bringing forward our complaints and while all of this gets settled, hopefully soon. But in any event, we are in a situation through no fault of our own where we've got a British Crown corporation calling itself the Global Family Bank, another substitution fraud. And we have shut down our American publicly chartered Global Family Bank in order to avoid any confusion or liability. We do not want to continue running our bank under that name and be confused with their bank running under that name and become liable for continued misadministration, corruption, criminality, misrepresentation, all those things. We are separating ourselves from them during this period because we do not want to get caught up in whatever scheme or fraud or whatever they intend to do with their version of the Global Family Bank.
Well, I think that was a smart thing to do, so immediately to take action like that and make that separation clear.
Right. We shut down the American publicly chartered Global Family Bank, and we tore up the charter so that, and we fired Hunter. We tore up the charter that was associated with him, where he was only the bank director, by the way, not the bank owner, the bank director. And we tore up the public charter. And that means that, any pretense that he makes of being able to issue asset-backed money or being able to issue prepaid credit, that is not true. That is not true. There's a fundamental difference between a publicly chartered land jurisdiction bank and a licensed British territorial commercial bank. And a licensed commercial bank cannot issue asset-backed money or prepaid credit. So no matter what he's saying about his new GFD and and all this other stuff, it's hokum. It's illegal, it's unlawful. It's just not going to go anywhere. And believe me, the international banking authorities are getting the message. So what you're going to see here is a battle royale as we come forward and say, look, these guys are engaged in a known fraud activity called mirroring. And they are trying to mirror our bank under the false pretense that we are commercial. We never opened a commercial bank. We opened an international trade bank, and we used the exchange rate that they published back in 1934. So there is no basis for them to complain, and there is no basis for them to misunderstand. If you operate under a charter, the owner of the bank is the entity, the sovereign entity that chartered the bank. It's not any individual man. And it certainly was not Hunter Toyofuku Aki, because first and foremost, the name, the Global Family Bank, applied to an international trade bank, and only an international trade bank, was created in May of 2015 by me. It was the first time that the name, the Global Family Bank, was used, and it was issued under my private copyright. So any pretense that Hunter has to say that the Global Family Bank belongs to him does not apply to our bank. Our bank belongs to the United States of America unincorporated, and it was issued under a federation charter. So if he's saying that he's the owner and operator, well, then it can only be a British Crown Corporation licensed charter. And that license needs to be pulled yesterday, if not sooner, by the British territorial government franchise that's responsible for this mess. And anyway, I want you all to be aware that what mirroring is. You have an unincorporated American publicly chartered bank, and then they have a British territorial licensed commercial bank operating under the same name with the intent to confuse their entity with our entity.
Right, just like what they did with our born names.
Right, exactly, where they are trying to misrepresent Americans as British subjects.
Right.
And this all is getting blown up. I mean, it is all coming home to them. There are now millions of people all over this planet who are aware of this and who are beginning the process of holding these corporations feet first to the fire. And this is being brought home to Pope Leo in both his offices, one as Pope and one as Roman Pontiff, that all of this has to be resolved in favor of the living people. And that's where we get back to me studying ecclesiastical law, because under ecclesiastical law, which was the form of law that is in charge of mental constructs, copyrights, trademarks, performance contracts, artistic endeavors, creative, everything that you can't see and hold in your hand, right? So corporations are what? They're basically business models. They are constructs of the mind. They don't actually physically exist naturally in this world. And so where are they controlled? They are controlled in the jurisdiction of the air under ecclesiastical law. And the ecclesiastical law very clearly states that the Pope is singularly responsible for the discipline of corporations.
Well, he better get ready and open up a can of whoop, you know what?
I think that that is what he intended to do when he called the those, was it 6 leaders of these giant corporations. He called, I think, Zuckerberg and Larry Fink and all, you know, all these CEOs of these gigantic corporations to meet with him, and they basically snubbed him. I don't think they realize that he has the ability to just draw a name through, you know, draw a line through their name and liquidate their corporations.
Yeah, they think of him as just a, you know, some religious leader and that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They
Right.
don't know the power that he wields in the air jurisdiction in terms of global commerce.
Right. They don't have a clue. But he can liquidate their corporations. He can nationalize all of the corporations. And that's what I'm urging him to do with by far the bulk of them, to bring them back under land law. And that would then instantly solve a lot of problems. And I'm encouraging him to selectively liquidate corporations that are known to have created war and disaster for profit, like Pfizer.
Wow. Well, I'm over here salivating at the future of what's possible when all of this happens and the perpetrators are held accountable and the people are freed from this bondage, you know, this sort of modern day slavery. I like to refer to what we're going, you know, what we're doing, what we're endeavoring to do as like Exodus 2.0.
Not too far off there, not really not, because I often feel like, you know, let my people go.
Exactly. Yes. Well, Anna, listen, I want to honor everything that you want to still say, but I want to check in with you in regards to the time because it's 11 minutes past the top of the hour and we have 9 hands up.
Well, let's go as fast as we can, and we'll just go fast until I poop out, okay?
Okay, all right, you heard that, everybody. Let's go fast. Doug, you're first. Go ahead, Doug.
Hi, Anna. So
Hi, Doug.
we've got some sort of mind meld going on here because I've been thinking about talking about for the last couple of days. And you mentioned that the U.S. is a corporation of the various forms of it are corporation. But who's the chartering sovereign to form that corporations?
Doug, that's part of what I was talking about, where we have to go all the way around the world and check out all of these different registration points to find out exactly where it was incorporated. They could have incorporated it as an LLC in Costa Rica. They could have incorporated it as a B Corp in England. They could have incorporated it as a trust or a foundation. You know, it's like needle in the haystack to find out exactly where they incorporated themselves. And the other option that we have is to ask them under a Freedom of Information Act where they were incorporated, and we'll do that too. But right now, we're not certain exactly where they registered this, you know, corporation or corporations.
I'm talking about the United States of incorporated.
Right, and I'm telling you, we don't know.
Okay, so if
it does not appear to be incorporated in Delaware, it does not appear to be incorporated anywhere within the United States that we think of as the United States. We have yet to check out outlying places like the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. We have yet to check out their new base of operation and find out if it was registered in the Mariana Islands or in the Grand Caymans. I mean, when I tell you that there are hundreds of places where they could have registered with the Kingdom of Monaco. And there are all sorts of different corporations that they could have registered under. They could have registered it as a trust, as a foundation, as an LLC, as a cooperative, as a charitable fund. I mean, it is maddening, but we do not know where the new version of the United States has been incorporated. We just know that it has been.
Okay, so how many sovereigns are there in the world in order to incorporate it? How many sovereigns are there to do that incorporation?
Several hundred.
Okay, so there, but you were talking about before about there's 60.
There are 60, it appears that there are 60 franchise corporations that walked out with Trump to try to escape justice from the ICC.
Okay. See, the other thing I was wondering about was with when you talk about we're actually using military script, but if there is no military, then it's mercenary script, isn't it?
Exactly. The whole thing is a fraud game.
Okay, so anytime they're using mercenary script, that's fraud. So there is no, none of the corporations using the military script have any claim.
That's precisely it, because they misrepresented themselves as a military occupation of this country. And it turns out that it was a mercenary occupation of this country. And under the false representation that it was a military occupation, they could claim that this entire country was a base of operations, and they could then use base currency, such as many of our veterans are aware of, where in a foreign country, our guys would go in and they would have a basically monopoly money script that would be issued on base as opposed to whatever was being used as money in the local economy.
Okay, the other question I have is, are not all the courts then false flag operations?
Essentially, yes, they are. They are all District of Columbia courts or franchise courts. And they actually are supposed to be only addressing their own personnel, their corporation employees, and the dependents of those employees. They're not supposed to be addressing us at all. And they can also address franchise corporations, but we're not incorporated entities. This is where the old switcheroo comes in when they create these corporation franchises and operate them under our names.
Okay, so can we do something with our new public law to require the enforcement of what you got in the final judgment and civil orders, where it says they have to declare their jurisdiction, law, blah, 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 all the things? I believe it's in the latter part of the final judgment and civil orders.
Well, we can certainly try to enforce it. We can ask for international support enforcing it. I think that enough pressure has been brought to bear on the International Bar Association so that they know that the game is up. Okay. The actual relief that we owe ourselves is to set up our own courts and to deputize our own people and to enforce our own law. And we already have law, and we already have Supreme Court agreement in the, Ex parte Milligan already agrees that as soon as we set up our courts, they no longer have any kind of claim over our people.
Well, I thought was having, enforcing the requirement that you have in the final judgment civil orders notice that you have to declare who they are and where they're incorporated. They have to present their corporate charter in order to come against us.
Right. Well, and that's all well and good, but if we don't have our courts up and standing and we don't have our court officers ready to enforce, then we're still behind the 8 ball.
Okay, I yield. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Doug. Okay, next up we have, oh wait, you know what? On my phone, it's like backwards and Josh came up next, but hold on, sorry.
Michelle, I was not next. I yield the floor.
Yeah, I know. When I left my computer, was it Glenn?
I sent you a private message, probably why I pulled me up as next.
Oh,
No.
okay, okay.
It's David Hara.
Oh, great. Okay, go ahead, David Harris. Sorry about that. I switched to my mobile device and it's all like jumbled from when I left my computer. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, Anna. Um, going uh, going back to a much smaller question and problem, um, on the jury pool committee in California, we're having some questions about uh, the difference between being papered up with the one page, two witnesses versus the 928s. Um, in my understanding, all the jurors have to be is papered up with the minimum of this 1779 to be able to be a juror or even in the the higher level jury. If can't quite come up with the name right now.
You are correct.
Okay, so in other words, all we have to be is one page papered up.
Right.
And the fact that a lot of people have gone ahead and done all the 928s thinking that that's a more powerful way to be. But I think in history, I know what you're doing. Thank you. I think I've got my answer, Anna.
The 928s were created when we were first getting started because we were getting a lot of flack from the de facto and we needed to defend ourselves and we needed to defend our coordinators in the field. So we created all these documents that sealed all these holes, okay? And then we got to looking at it and we realized that to get the job done, to get the basic thing accomplished, all we had to do was declare our intention to, reclaim our birthright status and our property. So that's where the one page it started with the one page declaration. And we did that so that it would be easy for people to do. And then we said, well, look at the 928s, and if you see something there that you need, like a baby claim or a business claim, different people, different strokes. Okay, but you do not need to fill out a 928 ever. You can just do the declaration and still be counted as an American with full rights.
Yes, thank you, Anna. I figured that was
That's it.
That was it. Yeah. When you were very, very good way back when you wrote your article number 928, you figured it all out. That's just wonderful. And then more recently in like 2021, possibly 2020, boiled all down to one page. That was wonderful. That was brilliant. So thank you so much, Anna. I'm going to yield and let the next person
And
ask.
David, I wasn't covering my head because
Oh,
I had to answer the question again. It was just that I want everyone to get this, if everybody everywhere and every coordinator should know that if somebody is signed up with their declaration, their one page declaration and their 2 witnesses, they're good to go.
Thank you for telling me. I thought when you covered your head, I thought you remember. Anyway, thanks a lot. I yield, and this has been a wonderful meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, David.
Okay,
So
thank
Lori
you.
is next. Michelle.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Lori.
This is going to be way off topic of what we've been talking about, but back on June 14th, um, Anna had said that she was going to, I guess, take the reins of civil service. And I was wondering if there's an update on that.
That got delayed because of the military.
Okay.
The military is basically operating as a bifurcated entity. You've got the DOD and you've got the Department of Defense, or what is now renamed the Department of War. You may remember that it got renamed the Department of War right about that time. So suddenly we're dealing with a different entity again. You know, presto changeo. Oh, we used to be the Department of Defense, but now we're the Department of War Incorporated. So we got delayed. It's not going to help them ultimately, but we got delayed.
David Copperfield. Poof.
Yeah, exactly. A magic disappearing act. And they're trying to say that they are engaging in war, which is the whole reason that it was changed to Department of Defense. If we just go back to the Vietnam era and remember McNamara, Secretary of War McNamara, telling you that now it was going to be Secretary of Defense. Why was it changed from Secretary of War to Secretary of Defense? Because Robert McNamara realized that they were engaged in mercenary conflicts. And now Trump is going to try to change it back to Secretary of War Incorporated, but it still won't be war. It's just a corporate name. But, you know, by doing that, they managed to gain some time, because then you have to go back and prosecute them under that name. And, you know, at this point, we're just going forward and we're bringing the whole enchilada out onto the table, because they've been abusing and using this ability to switch the names of corporations and use, you know, similar names to impersonate people and things. And all of this has to stop.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe we can get it done.
Amen. We're just working at that.
I yield.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Lou. Glenn's next. Michelle.
Go for
Thank
it.
you,
Thank
Lisa.
you, Glenn. Thank you, Lisa. Go ahead, Glenn.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening, Anna. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Just wanted to give you a quick update on Florida on the last 90 days. We approved our first decorum. We approved our process and procedures. The General Assembly has approved everything. And we have 5 vetted and approved people on Florida now, our Marshal at Arms, our treasurer, our IT person, Jennifer and myself as the coordinators. And we're getting things done, and we get along well. However, there's still a group of people out there, and you've recently sent out a couple of letters regarding the subject. But there's an issue right now with recording secretaries, and recording secretaries that have been vetted by the state, elected by the state, and did their affirmations on the state. Who has the authority to remove them from their position?
Well, I'm not sure that it's appropriate to remove anyone from a recording secretary position, as long as they're doing the work and doing it honestly.
Right.
The thing is Terry on the call tonight? Terry Sam?
No, she's not on tonight.
Okay, well, I've been trying to get hold of Terry to add the new recorders for Florida and North Carolina and a couple of other states. And I just have not been able to get in contact with her.
So we just received an email tonight to the 5 recording secretaries on the Florida Assembly. We received an email from the head recording secretary under the old group, who is still with the old group, telling them to remove their seals, destroy them, send proof to them that they're
No, they
destroyed.
do not have a right to do any of that. They've been told that there is one Florida Assembly. They've been told that their coordinator, Ralph Moore, retired from the position as coordinator, and that new coordinators have taken over the job of organizing the Florida Assembly and to bring forward all the records of the Florida Assembly and give it to the new coordinators. It's pure and it's simple. And if they can't understand it, I will officially dissolve anything that they think that they have and move right on.
Well, the email tonight said that the 5 recording secretaries will be removed from the LRO and have no longer
This
have
is not
access to it.
something arguable.
So I just needed to hear you say
These
that so I
people-
can.
These people, the coordinators and the recording secretaries, serve at the, under the Federation.
Okay.
And if they're not serving under the Federation, they don't have a position.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all we need to know.
Okay.
I hope you can speak with Terry and take care of that before we lose our access. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I will certainly talk to Terry as soon as I can track her down. She's had a rough time the last month and she's been hard to get hold of. And anyway,
I know. And I know you got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I really, at the present moment, fellas, and this goes to all of the coordinators, this is time for everybody to stand up in their own right and shake their own hands and say, okay, we're going to get business done. And if you have any questions, there is only one assembly in each state.
And can you just clarify one more time which assembly in Florida that is for the people on Florida? So there's a lot that are still confused.
It's the so-called new Florida. It's not the new Florida. It is the Florida Assembly. Ralph Moore resigned from being coordinator. We accepted his resignation. He had too much stuff going on in his own life. It had nothing to do with any kind of internecine anything. And new people stepped up to be the coordinators in Florida. And they went through the training and they went through the vetting, and they are the new Florida coordinators. Period.
Thank you very much. I yield.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. Next up is Renee. Go ahead, Renee.
Hi, Anna. How are you tonight?
Hi, Renee.
Good. I'm just hoping that you can simplify this for people because there's been some people that have signed the new agreement on the GFG, and they are kind of confused, I think, about how to close their accounts or whatever. And just sometimes they get lost in the message. If you could just really
ignore it. Just ignore everything that version of GFG is doing.
So don't accept the new terms. Don't worry about your credits. Everything's great. Kumbaya.
We have the records. They cannot issue any kind of gold or silver backed currency. They cannot issue any prepaid credit. They are a look-alike, sound-alike British Crown fraud. Okay? Anything that has GFG on it anymore, ignore it. Leave it alone. And if you did sign that new terms of service agreement, realize that you're going to have to go back and paper over it again, do your declaration, say that you made a mistake, and come back into the land and soil jurisdiction. Because when you are accepting services from them, that's identifying you as a U.S.C citizen. It is not an American operation. It is a corporation, a British Crown franchise corporation, operating under the same name It is a licensed U.S. bank at this point. It does not have a public charter. It is not American. Get the hell out of it and stay out of it. We will continue to bring you updates. Know that your money and your AFD is safe and your records are safe. But we will not be back in operation for a couple of months.
Okay, and so then also to simplify for people, because you said declaration, do they need to send those notices out again to the Secretary of States?
No. Just
Okay.
come back in, tell the state assembly, gee, I made a mistake.
Okay, great. I yield.
Okay, super. Thank you, Renee. Next up is Rocky. Go ahead, Rocky.
How you doing there? Uh, question for you. Is there a such thing as a Federation recording secretary that would have Federation stamps?
There are international recording secretaries.
Mm-hmm.
So far as I know, they have never been characterized as Federation recording secretaries.
Okay.
So wherever you're picking up on that, give it to me and I will go back to Terry and see what the status is if somebody has done this.
No, I haven't. I was asked that question if there was one or not, and that's why I'm asking you. And
okay.
And then
Yes.
the question is if there is some kind of international recording secretary, what would
Yes,
we
there
do to be
is.
one of those?
Yes, we have international recording secretaries, and they are basically able to go in and help people get recorded. And their purpose is for people that are outside the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Say that you are living offshore working for an American company in Panama, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you want to reclaim your status as an American, you want to claim your birthright.
Mm-hmm.
So those international recording secretaries are there so that you have somebody you can go to if you can't get in contact with your state secretary, recording secretaries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, how would somebody be able to be one of those kind of people to do an international?
It's just another, you have to be vetted.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have the training to know how to do the basic recording functions.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, all of the people that have volunteered to be international recording secretaries have undergone recording secretary training, and then they've kind of graduated into that position.
Mm-hmm.
So you would become a recording secretary first, and then you would apply to be an international recording secretary.
Okay. And would they be vetted by the Continental Marshals, or who would vet them?
Yeah, they would be vetted by the Continental Marshals.
Okay. Thank you very much. I yield. That's all I wanted to ask.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rocky. Okay, next up is Robert. Go ahead, Robert. Robert Blair on Washington. Robert,
you're muted.
Okay, I finally got my screen back.
There you go.
On this new public law, it is going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but it will be required that the electors will have to be state citizens.
No.
No.
General Assembly.
Okay. And so then each state needs to affirm that they are lawfully recorded and have the standing, so that that would eliminate a lot of checking by whoever does the count. Is that correct?
Right. You'd have a General Assembly meeting, and you would consider the question right there at the meeting. And then you would record the vote count. for your own record, right? We had 54 for and 4 against, whatever. And the motion carried yes. And there would be a letter then sent to the Federation, to my attention, and it would be also sent to a tabulator. And that would be one of the assemblies will step forward to be the tabulator. And they will come up with a final published result of which assemblies voted yay, which assemblies voted no, which assemblies abstained, for the public record.
Yeah, and because of the records are hard to check from state to state, there should be an affirmation that these are all lawfully recorded with standing to elect. Correct?
And once you have formed your General Assembly and you are already seated as a General Assembly, that's been a point of confusion. People think that there's some sort of additional magic step. There isn't. You're already seated as General Assemblies. You're simply not, quote unquote, fully seated until you have all 4 of your functions up and rolling. Okay, but you are seated in terms of being the assembly for your state. And you can vote on issues like this as a General Assembly.
Thank you. I yield.
Okie dokie.
Thank you,
Now
Robert.
I'm in trouble.
What was that, Anna?
I said, now I'm in trouble.
Here comes Joshua. Go ahead, Joshua.
Greetings, my love, Anna.
Hi.
MBS Peltier here.
That's it.
I don't know where to begin. I'm going to backtrack. All recording secretaries are international notary witness by default jurisdiction.
Technically, yes.
Technically, yes. Okay. Now, being the Federation International Notary Witness, that's another step. But all recording secretaries are default because of the nature of the counties here in the United States of America unincorporated. Here on Georgia is 153. So I'm international by nature. Second to Texas with their 253. But anyway, so this is share that. By nature, we're all international notarial witnesses. So to add the value to that. And then I come back to you, Anna, to add a value on the construct of Global and Hunter Toyofuka Aki. He has no charter on the corporate side or the lawful and or unincorporated side. He doesn't have anything but a platform, guys. Unless something had just come into fruition here in the last couple of days, he has nothing but a platform. He has no banking charter to provide banking services anywhere in the world. And I could verify that unless it just happened to come into fruition in the last week, because that's what I was and others were so adamant in getting the connectivity to for liquidity was that. So unless something just came about here in the last, 5 or 6 or 7 days, all he has is a platform, as I was expressing earlier. So I just wanted to add that value, as far as to that.
He was given an actual banking charter, a bank charter as a director, not as an owner.
Well, outside of us, outside of that, before it was pulled. I'll talk about before it was pulled.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
He don't have nothing now but a system, guys. Nothing but a system that I'm gonna tell you right now. There's systems where me and Anna had this conversation multiple times. We could purchase a system like this, more extravagant, more secure in Switzerland right now for 1.5 to $2 million, literally. So I just wanted to share my added value on that because it's just a system. He has nothing anymore. So what he's ledgering is a GHB Global Harmony. Oh, sorry, GHD Global Harmony dollar. It's a private script. Backed by what? So I just want to add that by so everybody knows what the clear. He has no standing. He has no authority. He has no charter. He has nothing but a system. And you can purchase a system anywhere in this world right now. So I wanted to add that value. The only charter he had to issue and be a public bank was through the Federation of States and ANA. Correct. So I just
Right,
want to add that by you guys. Yep.
and he has been presenting himself as an owner, and he never owned anything. A publicly chartered bank is owned by the public. It's actually owned by the people of this country, and he was just hired as a bank director, and that is what the paperwork shows, that he's the director.
That's correct. That's correct. Eddie, go back. Credit unions are publicly chartered in the commercial venue. They're not owned by any man or woman. It's you got to go back to legality and a lawful side of it and really look at it. It's all boils down to jurisdiction. I mean, you can't be a public credit union or publicly chartered bank as a I corporation. It's not possible.
Right.
So I just wanted to add that value to you guys and for clarity for everybody on this call and all that, along with the jurisdiction, the public record. Much love and appreciation and gratitude for you guys. If anybody has any questions, I'm here and compelled to add value to you guys. Most of you guys know my email address. If not, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Josh.
Much love, appreciation, gratitude. You look beautiful there, Anna. You look, yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Yeah, I'll get back with you here shortly here the next day or two. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
guys, we're shifting. And let me just add this value on the energetic side of it. I'm from Florida, guys. Just share a little bit with you. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I was born and raised. When a hurricane approaches land, it's devastating. As soon as it hits land, it settles and it dissipates. It calms. That's what the eye is the calm before the storm. So when you're over the target, just like a hurricane, whatever you want to call it, a tornado, when it hits the target, it's going to settle. It's going to subside. It's going to shift. So for everybody out there, officials for their assemblies on that, just say this is just the storm before the calm. Add that value. It's always been like that. And we've been battling it as Anna has been battling for a while. And me personally with Anna in the last couple of months through Global is don't lose your faith. Don't lose your energy because we're here. We are here. We're going to transition. We're going to shift. We already are shifting. We already are moving in that other direction. And just look at the positive sides of it before we actually issued and allocated funds to Global and Hunter. So I just wanted to share that with everybody and Anna. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Grand evening.
Thank you so much, Josh. Okay, Karen on Washington. Go ahead, Karen.
Hi, Anna.
Hi,
Karen
Karen.
on Washington. I wanted to share with you, I've sent you an email. You keep talking about those who have deposited funds into the vault, sent them to Citibank. I sent them to Bank of America, and I sent you all the information in an email. So there may be other funds out there that you aren't aware of, and I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that.
Well, I believe that the Bank of America account was closed some time ago and everything was routed back to Citibank, is what was supposed to be.
I just wanted to make sure that that was not left to the sidelines, and that's the only information I had, that I did deposit funds into Bank of America. And I wanted to make sure you were aware, which you obviously are. So you have a lovely evening.
And if by some chance anybody deposited anything into any account in any bank, for our vault program. And when the dust settles and you get your AFD account back in front of your face to look at it, if it isn't fully credited, you just get in contact with us.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. I yield.
Can I
You
add
too.
value to that? I meant to address this. I apologize. All
Yeah,
right, guys.
go ahead, Josh.
There was four commercial accounts. All right, guys. There was the Bank of America. There was a Citibank was the last one. There was a Wells Fargo and a PNC. They were systematically shut down. All right. I did 99.99% of all the ledgering for Safety Vault. Now, there was a branch in between Safety Vault and the Hunter Group for about a year, as we know, with Darla. Anyway, I want to say those names because it's not proper, but we know what that is. But from 2022 at the end to 2023 beginning, I did all the ledgering. I created all the receipts, the invoices, and everything. But it's all ledgered in System 1, and which Anna and the IT team has acquired and downloaded and safety vaulted to an extent to save that. And I do apologize. There was a lot that I wanted to add value to on that. But again, there's a lot going through all of this. But I did the accounting and it created all those ledgers and all those receipts from 2022 all the way up until today. And 99.999% were accredited in Safety Vault System 1 and converted over. If they weren't converted, they were accredited for sure. And there is ledgers for that. Okay. And I have provided Anna with the base root ledgers for that. I can't download a spreadsheet. It doesn't allow you for that invoicing system. But if you have your ledgers on the System 1, like Anna and the IT team has recovered, you're good. And you have your receipts from your commercial banks, you're good. Okay. So I just want to add that value. There's a lot coming at me, and I'm here to add that value and tell you guys that I'm very adamant. I don't do nothing unless it's 120%. And I was tasked with all that for the past 4 years. Okay. I yield. Minus a couple like you for Bank of America was already shut down before I came on board officially in his space. Okay. Keep your ledger, keep your receipts. I yield.
Yeah, I believe we caught it all as it was on the accounting system. So there shouldn't be any problems, but if there is, we'll make it good.
Awesome, Anna. Thank you. And thank you, Joshua, for adding that value. Next up, we have Tabitha. Go ahead, Tabitha.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Grana, thank you for being here and listening to all of our little problems, situations. We love both of you and the three of you. I'm sorry, Lisa, forgot you were there. Michelle, Grana. I have a little question. The credential cards, are they still applicable to be able to use them to cross into Canada? Has anybody used them yet?
I haven't. I don't know of anyone who has, but recent findings in the federal circuit courts and U.S. Supreme Court indicate that you do not have to have a passport to do that. And they do not need a social security number or a birth certificate in order to issue a passport. So it seems to me, if anything, those requirements have been loosened significantly, and that the old Postal Service regulations. Remember, these passports and all that kind of stuff is handled by the Postal Service. It's not handled by any other entity. It's all under the Universal Postal Union. Okay. So what the real standard, and this is funny, but it's true. At least I believe it's still true. If you mail yourself a piece of mail, it could be anything, just mail yourself a note to your address, to your name, right? And on that envelope showing your address, there are certain things that you write and do, which is all on, it's already a matter of record on annavonrights.com. And you can actually produce the paperwork needed yourself.
Oh, okay, wow. Thank you.
Okay, dear.
I yield.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tabitha. Okay, Kimberly, you're up next. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Anna. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I wanted to give you a report. I'm not happy to have to bring the report, but it is something on Michigan we have been dealing with, honestly, since you helped us to basically take back the People's Assembly to the people and the TMA 3, which we refer to at the Michigan Assembly in its third iteration. In April 27, 2024, Amy Hunt led us in moving forward, and now Rick Warden has our charge. And at this point, the previous coordinator that you have written about previously has not released the asset of our website domain name, themichiganassembly.org. It was just renewed, and for me, it is something that I will tell you, attacks the Federation, and attacks many of us good men and women who are trying very hard to get our assembly to function. It comes against us in a way that in outreach events, people will come across and ask us, do you know what they say about you, and so forth. I have a particular infiltrator report from when I was basically trying to help point to the problem that we were having in the previous assembly, and that basically got posted against me and stands to this day. I am having a lot of difficulty, and it has brought me great harm, and it brings our assembly harm. I also have to think that it's bringing you harm because you and the Federation are also listed. It is boldly so much that it basically says that certain of us attempted a coup, we're insurrectionists and things like this. It's working against us very badly. The fact that this was just renewed this weekend tells me that this is an intentional act to work against the people, to work against the Federation, to work against my assembly. And I am asking if you could put eyes on it, please, and to see if there's anything you can do to assist us. We have been in touch with the...
Kimberly.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Give us the exact address, the exact URL that they're using so that we can locate it precisely.
Yes, it is themichiganassembly.org.
Okay.
And we have been trying to, we've been trying to take it down since we were brought over, and we really could use some assistance because the web provider is not really working with us and has basically refused to assist. So just wanted to point that out. And if you can offer us help or articles so that we can have current articles for men and women, and we could post it on our website saying we are legitimate and that this is something that's false against us, that would be so amazing. And thank you so much for your consideration. Appreciate you very much. Blessings and love.
One question, do you have an
Indeed.
alternate address like the michiganassembly.com or?
We do. We have mymichiganassembly.land. It's fabulous. Our IT and our previous coordinator and others who have worked on our IT really have done just a beautiful, beautiful job. But people are still looking for us at the michiganassembly.org, and it definitely is causing problems. We've had men and women literally walk away from doing their paperwork and walk away from even having done their paperwork, but looking at becoming GA men and women, and they've walked away because of it.
That's an evil British Crown operation. We know about it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure, and if there's any help you could give us or a current article that we could use in outreach to basically counterbalance that. And then for those individuals of us that are named, it would be amazingly helpful to have that removed from us and to get this thing just shut down. And if we can get our asset back, that'd be great. We'll point to the new website and so on. But thank you for taking the time to look at it. I very much appreciate it. Blessings to you all. I yield.
Take care.
Thank you, Kimberly. Okay, next up, Marlene on Washington. Go ahead, Marlene.
Anna, this is Marlene on Washington, asking if you received your gift from Washington. It was in the post office. So it's waiting for you. It has arrived.
Okay. I don't know what it is for sure. So I'll have to kind of check.
It's about 50 puppies.
50 puppies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be looking for 50 puppies.
Okay. Have a good one. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
That was awesome, Marlene.
Well, I had this wonderful dream in which I was in this big kind of mansion-like house in the library, and with the big doors opening out onto a patio, and all of a sudden I hear this sound, thump 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 thump. It's sort of like thunder, and here come all these puppies of different kinds. I mean, it was, we had Rottweilers and Dachshund puppies and Labrador Retriever puppies and, Chihuahua puppies and Springer Spaniel puppies and puppies everywhere, like 1,000 puppies. It was amazing. It was really fun.
Well, that's awesome. And thank you, Marlene, for making Anna's dream a dream.
Right.
Essentially a reality. Anna, you might get to the post office and you're going to be inundated with like puppy licks all over. So
hey, I've always been a dog person all my life. I've been a dog and cat person all my life. Love animals. And so 1,000 puppies is 1,000 puppies, though. That's really impressive.
That's a lot of puppies.
And
well,
their
Anna,
make noise. Yes, they do.
Not to switch gears or anything, but I want to acknowledge you, congratulate you, thank you. You've made it through all of the hands tonight, and it's just a little bit after 8 p.m. Pacific. So, wow. Not only did we get incredible education, not only did we get a firm commitment, not only did we get this exciting new law that we're going to be doing by this roll call vote, not only, but here it is. It's a little after 8. And
well, we just, everybody cooperated. We just went wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. We got all the questions answered. We got everybody teed up on the green, ready to
knock it out of the park. Let's go.
Let's go for that hole in one, guys. All right, now, as we go into the week, we're going to do what? We're going to concentrate on what we want. We're not going to be distracted by a whole bunch of stuff going on over here. We're going to just, get our business done and keep our center of balance and our attention focused on what we want and what we need and what the world needs in terms of prosperity, in terms of peace, in terms of house cleaning, so that we get our government back running the way it should, and so that everybody can start enjoying life instead of being victimized by this bunch of commercial marauders.
So, amen to that. So be it. I mean, thank you, Anna.
Okay, hugs and love to everybody. Take care. God bless.
Thank you, Anna. Have a wonderful night, Anna.
Bye, Anna. Good night.
Good night.
And everyone.
Good night, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
Good
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, Anna.
Good night, Michelle.
Good night. Thank you, Gwen.